It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your host, Kevin McIntosh. Families recently packed Marshbank Park for the first Kids Commotion concert of the season, featuring live music, superheroes, and plenty of family fun. Civic Center TV was actually on site to capture the excitement as West Bloomfield kicked off summer with games, inflatables, and special surprises.
The music has made its way right back here to Marshbank Park for another exciting season of the Kids Commotion concerts. 3 fun-filled and kid-friendly concerts that take place right here at Marshbank Park for every family in Greater West Bloomfield to enjoy. And as you can tell from the excitement behind me, the fun has only gotten started for this season.
This was actually a surprise. We had just come to play on the playground and walk around the park and the water, and this was here, so it was an amazing surprise. It's awesome. Yeah, my 4-year-old is very happy. He's having a lot of fun.
It was a really nice day. I have an almost 2.5-year-old, so she's got lots of energy, and this is a great way to just burn it off before bedtime. Oh, I think it's great. I think all parents know the before bedtime energy rush, and I think this is awesome. Then they go home, they crash, they get to have fun. You have fun while you're here with your kids. I love it.
What do you think about the music that's performed here?
Oh, I think it's great. They were all her favorite songs. All songs that we know, all songs that we dance to at home and play while we're playing and stuff, so she loved it.
I mean, you're looking everywhere. You're just seeing smiles, you're just seeing positivity and just appreciation for so many things here in Greater West Bloomfield, wouldn't you say?
That's the truth. That's the truth. These parks does a great job of entertaining people and bringing in fun for kids and adults. It is so much fun to watch these kids have their little mosh pit up here when they really get going. It's fun.
I see lots of smiles, lots of happy kids, lots of parents that look happy. There's even grandparents. I see a lot of families coming together and having fun.
How great is it for West Bloomfield Parks to be providing a lot of these opportunities for young families in West Bloomfield?
I think it's really great, and I think it's really great to bring awareness to the park, because honestly, before today, I've never been to this park. So we'll definitely come back to play on the park and walk the trails and stuff. It's a beautiful park.
Last question. What would you say is just the biggest thing everybody takes away from here once everything is said and done?
That's a good family event for all the children and the residents of West Bloomfield, and they should come out and enjoy it. If you have young kids, they love this stuff. So
these kids have certainly caused a commotion tonight, and that's only going to get louder as the season goes on. A big thank you to West Bloomfield Parks for everything they do for the community as the music continues to play all throughout Greater West Bloomfield. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
That's a fantastic start to summer fun at Marshbank Park, by the way. And there will be a series, so we're expecting more dates. As a matter of fact, don't miss the next Kids Commotion concert, June 12th. All right, for details, go to West Bloomfield Park's website, wbparks.org, or go to them on Facebook at WB Parks as well. Lily Splash Pad is officially open, and it's Michigan's largest splash pad, and it is open for the season. 5,500 square feet of watery excitement, now open, including 50 features, a water bucket, water slides, 55-gallon splash bucket, I should say, and so much more. You do want to make sure you get your tickets in advance. They are only $4 for residents and $7 for non-residents, just to keep that in mind. Children 6 months and older must have a ticket, but if they are less than 6 months, they get in for free, of course. But with that being said, just please keep in mind, you can purchase tickets well in advance if you want to, up to 30 days in advance for our residents right here in West Bloomfield, and then up to 15 days in advance for the non-residents as well. Something to keep in mind, but also, we are expecting great weather today, but that's not always the case. So make sure you call their weather hotline before you go to check and make sure that they will be open dependent in the conditions and temperatures. But today, we're expecting beautiful weather, so get out there and enjoy Lily Splash Pad right here in West Bloomfield. Discover the important mission of the Howell Nature Center, Michigan's largest wildlife rehabilitator, as they work to care for thousands of injured and orphaned wildlife animals each year. This endangering program explores the threats facing our native wildlife, the complex rehabilitation process, and the many ways that you can support conservation efforts. Attendees will also meet live animal ambassadors, wild creatures that provide a unique, up-close look at the power and impact of wildlife care. The family session runs from 6 to 7 p.m. and is recommended for ages 5 and up, and the adult session takes place from 7:30 to 8:30, geared towards ages 18 and older. Nominations are now open for the 2025 Keego Harbor Beautification Awards. This is your chance to help recognize the most beautifully maintained properties and landscapes around the town. Whether it's a flawless yard, a vibrant garden, or a stunningly kept property just in general, the city wants to celebrate those who bring charm and visual appeal to the community. So submit your nominations and keep honoring those who keep Keego Harbor looking its best. For more, go to KH Parks on Facebook for more. Get ready for a night under the stars. Astronomy in the Park is returning to Keego Harbor Friday, June 27th, Friday, June 27th. You want to join Keego Harbor Parks and Recreation and the Oakland Astronomy Club for an evening of stargazing and a laser-guided constellation tour at Rose Sorter Park, right next to City Hall. This will be 8:30 to 11:30 p.m., well past my bedtime. The night includes a special presentation and a Q&A session, and it's all weather permitting. So if it's bad weather, we would not be out there should rain threaten. A rescheduled date will be announced, but just don't miss this celestial experience in your own backyard. Right into the season of gardening and getting into your yard. We look into many ways to not only keep our landscape beautiful, but also make it more accessible to nature. Bees, native plants, and other elements are important to maximize the efficiency of the ecosystem around us. I really don't know too much about it. That's why to tell us more about it is the Bees in the D co-founder joining me right here live on The Splash, Brian Peterson-Roast. Thank you for being here, Brian.
It's always great to be with you. Thank you.
We love to talk about it. So let's just get into some of like the generalization of what we're going to talk about, right? First and foremost, what are the most important elements to include in a bee-friendly garden during the summer months?
Natives. It's so important that we plant some native flowers for our native bees and our native pollinators like our butterflies.
Okay, so let's get into a little bit more specifics. Are there any specific native plants or flowers that you recommend that are based right here in Michigan?
Well, I have a few favorites myself. I love Gaillardia, which is blanket flower. I love the black-eyed Susans. There's the cone flower. I mean, the list goes on and on. We actually have a lot more native flowers than what people think, and they're actually extremely beautiful. And so they not only help our pollinators, but they make your yard look a lot more beautiful.
I would agree with that too. I believe as time is going on and more research is being done, we're starting to realize the importance of even like dandelions and things of that nature, like weeds and things of that. People are starting to look at things just completely.
Audio.
Oh, okay. So I think our producers are gonna work on some things. But with us right here live on the Splash.
Unfortunately, I lost audio.
With us right here live on the Splash, by the way, from Bees in the D, we have co-founder Brian Peterson-Roast, just talking about native plants, bees, and things of that nature, and how we can make our yards and landscape a little bit better. We're going to iron out those wrinkles and come back and tell us a little bit more. We are live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. bringing you stories and memories from Sylvan Lake. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. Missed one of our live broadcasts or one of your local municipal meetings? Check it out online at civiccentertv.com. Every meeting, show, and interview on demand. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
I'm Gina Gregory, president of the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. I'm excited that Civic Center TV has reached 1 million views on YouTube. Congratulations. That's just terrific. We appreciate everything Civic Center does for the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society and the community. For us, they promote and highlight our events. It's awesome to have them available 24/7 on YouTube. I'm Gina Gregory and proud to be one in a million.
And now, back to the Splash, live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh. Being joined right now by co-founder from Bees in the D, Brian Peterson Rose. We were just recently talking about how we can make our homes and yards more eco-friendly for bees and native plants in general. Just picking up from that conversation, Brian, one thing that I want to ask you about, the different types of bees. Can you just tell us the difference between maybe a native bee and a honey bee? Is there a difference? To break that down, please.
Yeah, great question. A lot of people don't realize this, but in Michigan alone, we have over 460 different species of bees. But we tend to just think of our bees like the honey bees because they do provide us with honey. But our native bees, like some of the bumblebees or the mason bees or the leafcutter bees, are extremely important to our ecosystem.
Wow. Okay. So I'm going to be honest, just like the average person, I would think any bee that I see is producing honey. They're all big. I mean, they're all the same. I do see bigger bees that are, bigger and louder than other ones, but I would just never know. So with that being said, how can we ensure as gardeners that we are supporting both the honeybees and the native bees?
Like I said earlier, by planting native, the native bees have more of a symbiotic relationship with those plants, but they also do benefit our honeybees and some of our other insects that we may think are bees, but they're not actually bees at all, like our wasp and our hornets. So the group is even bigger if you include those wasp and those hornets as well.
Woo! Now we're going down a dangerous path. I am scared of those wasps and those hornets, but I'm pretty sure they serve a purpose though, right? But let's kind of get into the other part. So for the people who are aware of pollination in their yards and kind of do their best to set up pollinator gardens, what are some common mistakes you might have seen or heard of when people try to create these pollinator gardens, and how can they avoid those mistakes?
Well, weeds can become a big problem. And so you have to kind of, especially at the beginning of putting these plants in, kind of be on top of things to keep those weeds from overcrowding those natives. But that's the great thing about natives. They actually are used to our climate here in Michigan, and so they don't need quite as much care as maybe some of the annuals that we plant that need to be watered quite continuously. Our natives are designed to maybe go through a little bit of a drought. And then what's nice about them is they spread and they come back every year. They're perennials, so you don't have to keep planting them each year. So I guess that's not really mistakes. That's just kind of the benefits of having the natives.
Yeah. Good note to have. Good note to have in our mind when we are preparing our pollinator gardens in general. Okay, so one thing I do want to kind of bring up for our gardeners and people who want to keep maybe pests and other insects away from different parts of their garden. What are the dangers of using some pesticides or herbicides, even those that are labeled bee-friendly or pollinator-friendly?
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes we want to take the easy route and we want to use some sprays or some pesticides to get rid of some of the pest insects or even some of the plants that we don't like. But what we kind of forget is they don't necessarily target just those pest insects or just those plants that are kind of weeds or plants that we don't want. And so it can then affect the whole ecosystem, and those pollinators can take those poisons back to their nest, or it can unfortunately kill them as well.
There's just so much that we got to be aware of when it comes to that. We have to be so gentle when it comes to our nature. Sometimes we just think of nature as just being completely sustainable and just continuously just growing and just rebuilding itself, and that's not always the case. We can damage, sometimes permanently or just long-term damage, a lot of the things that nature provides us, and that can easily affect the ecosystem. So I'm glad you kind of broke that down as well. With me right here live on The Splash, by the way, co-founder of Bees in the D, Brian Peterson Roast, is talking about bees, native bees, the difference between honeybees and native bees, and also native plants and how we can best prepare our pollinator gardens. Just a couple things I want to get across from you before we let you go over. Are bees more prone to living and making their homes in the sunnier areas, the shaded areas? Like what certain garden layouts or features are more inviting to bees?
Yeah, bees like the sun. They love the heat.
Really?
But it kind of makes sense because that's also where most of the flowers grow the most successfully as well.
Okay.
And so they're going to be in that nice hot sun partnership. So yeah, they prefer the sunny locations, although they will go into shady locations to find some pollen and nectar from some of our plants that may grow in a little bit more of a shady location. But yeah, the sun is the preferred spot.
Gotcha. It would make sense. I mean, I prefer the shade and the hot sun, but they're built a little bit different than we are. So besides that, what are some a few other impactful actions individuals can take to help bees in our community, maybe even beyond planting?
Water is so important. It's the essential for life. And so by having water baths or a bowl with rocks in it that allow our pollinators to come and get a drink, it can be a huge help for them as well. But I do want to caution you, if you have standing water, it also does attract some of our pest insects like mosquitoes. So you want to keep that water changed so that you don't help the mosquito population along as well. But water is definitely something that our pollinators need. And then you've already brought up, just avoid those pesticides, avoid those herbicides that can be harmful to our pollinators.
100%. I can say it myself, Brian, but it means so much more when it always comes from an expert, and we appreciate that. I know we ran through a lot of different topics. Anything else that you want to give out to our community, our gardeners in the West Bloomfield community, before we let you go?
No, I just want to add that we love our partnership with West Bloomfield. We've already did our Beekeeper for a Day tour, which was so much fun to get some of the community members in the hives. And I just would encourage you to continue to watch and follow some other events that we have coming up. We probably are doing again our Honey Sommelier event a little bit later into the season, which is quite a unique event where you get to learn to smell and taste different honeys, much like wines. And so it's always fun for us to get to do that. I know the Pollinator Palooza is coming up. So all kinds of fun things that we get to be a part with West Bloomfield Parks especially.
Yeah, learn a little bit more about nature. Treat these bees differently when you know a little bit more about them. That's what I'm taking away from it. But I thank you so much again for your time and your knowledge. Once again, co-founder of Bees in a D, Mr. Brian Peterson Roast. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Love it. Love to have an expert on here giving us all great notes, tips, and practices to how we can better take care of our yards, lawns, landscape, and be a little bit more bee friendly as well. We'll continuously have more experts on to tell you a little bit more about how you can treat your lawn and your yard and your lawn. Over 1,900 elementary students in all 4 West Bloomfield elementary schools have participated in a 7-week yoga and mindfulness program during the school year. This marks the 3rd consecutive year of collaboration between the Greater West Bloomfield Community Coalition and the Yoga Wellness Program. This is all with significant support from the Jamie Daniels Foundation. We actually spoke to Chris Perry, the executive director of the Jamie Daniels Foundation, to tell us a little bit more about this program. Thanks for being here, Chris.
Well, thank you for having me this morning. I really appreciate the time.
No, we appreciate your presence starting off. So let's get into the collaboration. How did the partnership between the Jamie Daniels Foundation and the Greater West Bloomfield Community Collaboration come about?
Well, I guess I should back up and let you know that the yoga program is really designed to build mindfulness and coping skills within the children of West Bloomfield. And that's important because that impacts their mental health, their social emotional learning, and also it is considered a prevention factor or protective factor when it comes to substance use disorder, which is the focus of the Jamie Daniels Foundation.
Good. And we want to explore that a little bit more, too, about the foundation in itself. So since we started there, let's get into a little bit why. We're talking about the elementary kids at this point as well. Why elementary? Why elementary kids? Why is that a top priority?
That's a big priority because we need to give them the skills and the training before they start to encounter the anxieties and stress and frustrations of being a teenager
of life
and get older. That's inevitable if they're going to face that. So the better that we can equip them with skills and how to understand and recognize the emotions they're having and how to manage them, the better they're going to cope as they get older. So we start early. It's kind of like, going upstream.
Good point. I like that. And man, you just hit the nail on the head. Just talking about finding a way to solve those type of problems and or possible stress and conflicts before they even occur. Because when life hits you, whoo, we all know.
Absolutely.
But since we're talking about this being the third year, right? From your perspective, let's just talk about measuring results. How has the program positively impacted students and the school climate in general here in Greater West Bloomfield?
Right. Well, what we really get is we get qualitative and quantitative feedback from the teachers, the administrators, and the students about how it impacts their behavior and how they operate in school. We hear from teachers all the time about not only do they recognize that this is going to help the children going forward, but also just how they interact with each other at school and how they're able to manage themselves in the classroom and be more prepared for the lessons that the teachers want to give them. That being able to manage your emotions is so key to, regardless of the age group. But if we can teach that at a younger age, the better for them going forward.
Well said. And I love that too. I love the effort that you all are doing. And as much as I love talking about these types of programs and initiatives happening with the youth in Greater West Bloomfield, I always where was this when I was younger? But I'm glad that we're doing something about it now. So we appreciate that. Yeah. With me right here live on the Splash, by the way, from the Jamie Daniels Foundation, Executive Director Chris Perry, talking about their collaboration and support for the yoga program in the elementary schools right here in West Bloomfield with the Greater West Bloomfield Community Coalition as well. So I want to talk about further measurement as well, the long-term goal. What does long-term success look like for early mental health intervention programs like this one?
Well, like I mentioned, is that the more that we can train the students around how to manage their health, the better. Now, when it comes to substance use disorder, there's two general areas that people consider. There's the risk factors and there's the protective factors. And the risk factors are things like genetics and their environment, and maybe some trauma that they experienced.
Right.
The protective factors are positive relationships with adults and with each other. Like I said, mindfulness and coping skills and how to deal with emotions. So they're not turning to substances to help medicate themselves to the struggles that they're having. So this is really building a foundation and a platform that children, as they grow up, that they can continue to build on. What's great about the program, it's an 8-week program that the teachers participate in with the students. So even after that 8 weeks, the teacher is using the language that everyone learned in that class to moderate each other. So it's beneficial for the students, not only that 8 weeks, but through the class, through the class year, and well beyond.
I love that. And so let's explore that a little bit more, talking about and beyond, right? We're starting off elementary, 3 years, seems like it's great success. Are there any plans to expand the yoga and mindfulness initiative maybe to other groups, other schools?
Yeah, we would love to expand it into middle school and beyond. Right now, the funding that we have is kind of limited to the elementary schools, but we touch all the elementary schools in West Bloomfield and all the grades. So we're really proud of that. We started this in 2022 and 2023 school year as a test, as a pilot, with just a couple classes in each of the elementary schools, and was overwhelmingly positive received by the administrators and the teachers. So we expanded it to all the grades and all the classrooms. Now, the next step obviously would be, if we could, to go into the middle school and start addressing it with them as well.
Right.
Be fantastic.
Yeah. But once again, Chris, I love how you're doing it, though. You're starting from the youth, going to middle school and high school. I mean, depending on how you do it as well, you'll probably catch those kids going from elementary, going to middle, and then going to high school, and they'll learn yoga all through their entire school life as well. And I think that just adds, oh my goodness, I love this so much. Great job, great effort as well, and we appreciate that. Now, I want to kind of tie some things into your foundation. First and foremost, tell us a little bit about the Jamie Daniels Foundation overview real quick.
Absolutely. Well, the Jamie Daniels Foundation started in 2018, and it was started in honor of Jamie Daniels, who lost his life to an overdose. So his parents, Lisa Daniels Goldman and Ken Daniels, started this foundation really just to make sure that no family or no child goes through the excruciating pain and experiences that they experienced. So our focus is around recovery and prevention. We have a number of programming for children and young adults who are in recovery to help them maintain their recovery journey. But now with this program, it is really around the prevention. And like I mentioned, is the more we can get people and young people to understand their emotions and to be able to manage their emotions, the less likely they will be turning to substances to help medicate themselves.
Correct.
And it's really critical because your brain really doesn't fully develop until you're 25, 26. So anytime you introduce a substance into the system, it's going to have an impact on that development of the brain. So we're trying to make sure that we prevent usage before it starts. That's really the focus of this initiative.
Yes. I'm glad you made that correlation, because that was essentially what I was going to ask. How does this program that you all have in school kind of correlate and reflect the broader goals and missions of the Jamie Daniels Foundation? But you laid it out perfectly, like you said, starting off young, putting things in their mind as to how they can, alleviate stress and just outside factors and noise and distractions to kind of just come to themselves and not have to worry about substance abuse or anything like that. We 100% love that. With me right here live on The Splash, by the way, Jamie Daniels Foundation Executive Director Chris Perry, talking about the yoga program in our elementary schools right here in Greater West Bloomfield and how they are actually helping the youth as well. Just a few things before we let you go, Chris. What moment or feedback from this program has stood out to you the most, either from the students, the parents, or educators?
I think I've had a chance to visit some of the classrooms when the students are going through it, and just how they're reacting to the teaching and the learning, and how they're interacting with each other in a much more positive way after they've gone through this training, which is really significant and heartwarming. Yeah. So even if certainly it's going to impact the prevention of substance use disorder, but they're just going to make them a more mindful child and better interact with each other, which is obviously a benefit.
Yeah. And you know what, to be honest with you, we want to support you anyway. Just doing this and putting the word out about the program in general, I feel like we're doing our part here at Civic Center TV. But beyond this and beyond grant support, how can community members, parents, local business owners support the work that you're doing here in West Bloomfield for our youth?
I think the biggest thing is our focus is really just on children and making sure that they have the support that they need. So parents need to understand what their children are going through. There's plenty of information on our website and others around how to talk to your child about their mental health, how to talk to your child about substance use, whether it's alcohol or cannabis, and the dangers of those. All those things, you can never start too early with your child. Now, obviously, it has to be age-appropriate conversation, but the sooner you start having those conversations, the better you're going to be able to avoid that. Substance use disorder is a chronic disease as identified by the American Medical Association. So we want to make sure that we put those prevention factors in place for all children so they don't succumb to this disease.
Well said. And once again, thank you for your work, your support for our youth, and just putting mindfulness into their brains early. I love that, man. Thank you so much again for your information. Executive Director from the Jamie Daniels Foundation, Mr. Chris Perry. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
For more on the Jamie Daniels Foundation and the work that they do, you can visit them online on their website at yourchildrensfoundation.org. Residents' opinions have a direct role in shaping decisions about infrastructure, affordable housing, neighborhood services, community investments, and so much more in our Greater West Bloomfield area and beyond. This actually helps Oakland County's Neighborhood and Housing Development Division develop their annual action plan outlining how HUD dollars will strengthen and improve our local communities. Khadijah Walker-Fobbs recently joined us on the Splash Live to tell us a little bit more. Thank you for being here, Khadijah.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
And it's an honor to have you as well. Getting straight into it, I want to ask you, or at least note the fact that the survey has officially closed. But with that being said, how will the results of this year's Community Needs Survey specifically impact neighborhoods within our Greater West Bloomfield area specifically?
Absolutely. So when we garnered the feedback, which this year we had probably the highest response ever on record. We had about almost 1,600 responses countywide for this needs assessment survey that we use. And how it will be used is we take the feedback and the priorities that our residents throughout the county and also within the local municipalities in terms of what their priorities of focus are. And that will be embedded into how we make decisions around how the funding will be allocated. And so for West Bloomfield specifically, my team was able to pull up some of the responses that we received, and we had pretty great representation actually from West Bloomfield. We had near 80 people who responded to give feedback on what some of the priorities were for them for this next coming program year in terms of what they would like to see as focus areas for the federal funding. That federal funding is through the Community Development Block Grant and the Home Investment Partnerships. And so provides things like sidewalk infrastructure. We do public service works. And so I know West Bloomfield has historically supported their senior center. We do improvements to libraries, streetscapes, all of those things. And so in West Bloomfield, it was interesting because we had the majority of respondents say that infrastructure improvements was a critical and a high need. So the two highest responses around infrastructure improvements. And I will say that historically, West Bloomfield has made an investment in their sidewalks and removal of barriers to make things more accessible for residents in parks. And so that's definitely been a focus locally for West Bloomfield. And then also survey respondents in West Bloomfield let us know that they thought that housing assistance to low income families was extremely important. And that was something that should be focused on, as well as reducing homelessness came up very high in the survey by West Bloomfield residents as a priority for how we need to utilize and look at funding. So those are just pulling out some of those key highlights.
No, thank you for that again, Khadijah. That's a mouthful, but ultimately a lot of great information that I'm just learning. I'm pretty sure our audience is just learning as well when it comes to some of the results from this survey as well. And it's an example of what you were talking about, improving some of our sidewalks and our streets and things. That's going on right now, right on Orchard Lake. Some of our sidewalks are being improved. There's some construction there. So great example of how some of our local input is being literally put into practice right now. Now, since we're talking about Oakland County, which is a collage of different people, different backgrounds, and West Bloomfield is a microcosm of that as well. What steps are being taken to ensure that residents from all different diverse backgrounds and income levels have a voice in this planning process?
It's a fantastic question. And so this year, like I said, we had one of the highest responses ever on record from the survey. And I really credit it to strategic outreach to make sure that people were represented in various sectors, various parts of the county, and that we actually had a staff person dedicated to getting out to senior centers, libraries, hospitals, everywhere we could think of to make sure we were distributing the survey and that we provided not only hard copy paper forms for people who might not have access to technology. But there was also a QR code that was posted in a lot of public spaces where somebody who does have access to technology could just go right from their mobile phone and respond. And we saw that this approach worked because, like I said, this was the highest response countywide. And so we did have a great representation throughout all of Oakland County, rural and urban pockets, to this survey, and have that feedback that will be utilized and put together in our annual action plan when we submit it to HUD this year, taking in consideration those priorities from residents throughout our county. But really a lot of effort made to make sure that senior centers, libraries, city halls, hospital waiting rooms, anywhere else we could think of, we were making sure to get this distributed.
Right. Like you said, to accommodate residents from the highest scale to lowest scale, big, all around, essentially, just making sure all voices are heard from, the oldest to the youngest in our communities. Now, with that being said, also, even considering some of the people who may not be homeowners currently, how can students, young adults, renters in our community get involved in shaping our neighborhood's future through this initiative, for an example?
Yeah, another wonderful question. So first of all, the survey is for 18 and older. So I just want to put that qualifier out there for adults. And we also wanted to make sure, I'll be honest, like early on, we were kind of heavy on those who were homeowners responding. So our staff person, who's our community liaison, made some strategic efforts to make sure that the survey, once again, was distributed in pockets where there's a lot of people who are renting, places and spaces where people are renting, to get that feedback. But it is really important for people to know that this exists. It happens every year, and it is to give the community a voice. And we want to make sure that we are hearing from those who are renting, because we know there's a huge need for housing options, diverse housing options that include affordable rental units for young families and young adults who are starting their working career. And that is something that this division has been strategically focused on making investments in. And it comes from the feedback of people saying, hey, this is something that Oakland County needs. It's expensive to live in Oakland County. We need more options. And so we've made a lot of very strategic investments, even in the last couple years, to support the development of rental units and multifamily units.
Good. And I love to hear that too, because not everyone is a current homeowner, and we already know that the access to even own a home nowadays has widened since, a few decades ago. So just trying to accommodate those who may be renting currently or even aspire to own, giving them those options and opportunities is well done by Oakland County. And with me right here, live on the Splash, by the way, from Oakland County Neighborhood and Housing Development, we have Officer Khadijah Walker-Fobbs talking about the survey for the U.S. Department of HUD funds for Oakland County communities, how they will affect us, and what we can do in regards to our feedback. And with that being said, let's just talk about that. So the survey has officially closed, but we also want to talk about the opportunity that people may actually have to still kind of give their input. So how can the feedback from the survey and public comment affect the future of local communities? For an example, under West Bloomfield's master plan, which is actually kind of being constructed now as well.
Yeah, it's once again, fantastic questions. We want involvement from the community. We want to hear voice. So with the survey closing on Friday, there will be a public hearing held on May 27th, Tuesday, May 27th at 4:00 here at our offices at the Oakland County Health and Human Services Division, 1200 North Telegraph Road. There will be a public hearing to take any feedback or questions that residents have, and we encourage participation. And also there's a public comment period. So if you're not able to come out at that time, that's okay. You can still submit your comments to nhd@oakgov.com or call us. We will record those comments. They will be documented. Those public comments are submitted as well with the annual action plan as part of the overall picture to make sure we're capturing input, we're capturing voice. So we encourage residents, submit your comments, participate in the process. Public comments will be open until June 11th. So there's time. Like I said, it'll open on May 27th. Okay. We'll be taking those comments until June 11th, and we encourage people to be part of the process of making your voice heard. That is the whole purpose of the process, how we're doing the work, and making sure that we're shaping things in a way that serves people with their priorities and what they need.
Yep, and that's why we're doing our part here at Civic Center TV as well, which is being the channel to get that information out to our audience and local community as well. Don't want to hold you up too much longer. Couple things I want to know. One, just for perspective, I don't even know if you're able to answer this, but how soon can residents expect to see some of those changes and new initiative as a result of this survey and public comment?
Yeah, so we will be going through the process of submitting our plan to HUD. And so once we collect the feedback, there's a process that goes through our Board of Commissioners. We submit to HUD, we wait for approval, and it usually takes about 6 months from the time of our submission, which will be in the end of June, early July, where funding is released and we start enacting the plans that each of the local municipalities have submitted to the county as their priorities. So West Bloomfield has already submitted an application for last year. That included, like I said, the senior services, the sidewalks, the removing architectural barriers within the parks. And so each city really is able to dictate some of those priorities for the community on the funding. So once we get approval for our next funding round, we basically work with the local municipalities. West Bloomfield would be telling us, this is what residents have told us, and this is how we would like to apply the funding to use, our community development block grant dollars. And, we're just here countywide to make sure we're supporting our local municipal units with the process and compliance and all those fun things. So
yeah,
pretty quick.
Yep.
Like next year, you would see things being put in place. And like I said, I know that senior services has always been a focus, which is important. And then on a larger scale, you had a great question about the rental units and some of the investments we've made. We don't have one specifically right now. West Bloomfield would love to see one come. So if there's any developers or nonprofits interested, come talk to me. But we have made a huge investment in over 1,008, almost 1,100 units just in the last year and a half of housing throughout the county. And we've made a strategic investment to make sure that we have great projects that are going to catalyze neighborhoods. It's going to offer more rental options for people as well as home ownership options for people. And there's some just exciting projects that are going to be breaking ground this summer. So I want to make sure I'm elevating that, because when you talk about community voice, that is in response to community voice. That is in response to the needs that we're seeing throughout the county, that such a significant investment has been made by the county to make sure that we are supporting the development of these types of projects.
Right.
So can't not lift that up.
Of course. And I'm glad you took the time to talk about that as well. And while we do have you, any additional information that we did not discuss that you want to let our audience know about before we let you go?
Well, I guess basically, I think I would like to just leave with the fact that that we are very committed to making sure and ensuring that families, young people, seniors have safe and stable housing options. We know that Oakland County, it can be very expensive to live in, but we want people to be able to live where they work. And so that is key. Or age in place if you're in your retirement years. And so I think what I'd like to leave residents with is just knowing that as a county, this division and the county as a whole, the county leadership is committed to ensuring that there are great options for people to create thriving neighborhoods, to make sure people can stay in their homes, they can find homes, and that we offer a diverse array of options that are going to fit the needs of our residents, because we know our residents are diverse. And so we need to make sure there's lots of choices and options. And so it is a priority. It is a focus. We've put our money where our mouth is. We've made investments, and we want people's feedback. So we do encourage people to go ahead and share your feedback. Make sure you're participating in this annual survey. Participate in the public comments. We want to hear from you.
Please do your part. Or, hey, I mean, don't complain if, the changes that you want aren't made because you had the opportunity. But we want to thank you so much again for your time, for your information. Once again, Oakland County's Neighborhood and Housing Development Officer, Khadijah Walker-Fobbs. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
To get more information on how you can voice your opinion in your community and about your community development, go to oakgov.com for more. And speaking of more, we have more to talk about in regards to different things and people who have been impacting our Greater West Bloomfield community. We'll highlight that coming up. We are live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Bringing you stories and memories from Kego Harbor, Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Hi, I'm Chris Fry, Park Superintendent, West Bloomfield Parks. Congratulations, Civic Center TV, on 1 million views on YouTube. Thank you for all you do in the community, and thank you for having me on The Splash throughout the season to talk about activities out in the parks. Chris Fry, proud to be 1 in a million.
And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. How are you doing? I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh. West Bloomfield High School senior co-captain Cam LaFlame pitched the Lakers to their first district championship in 10 years versus Walled Lake Western High School. The Lakers defense allowed 0 runs on only 2 hits from Walled Lake to come out victorious. Here with me on The Splash Live to talk about this victory, this accomplishment, and more is Coach Josh Bernberg from West Bloomfield High School baseball team. How you doing, sir?
Kevin, I'm doing great. It's always good to see you.
Per usual, happy to have you here as well, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I want to start off with a congratulations on the district championship. Tell me what this means for you right now, you and your team.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, it means a lot. It means that we get, a few more guaranteed days together, and, every day we got to come to practice ready to go to try and extend our season as long as possible. Regional semis is tomorrow on Wednesday, and we're waiting on the time. It's to be determined based on the weather, but we're enjoying every day we get together. It's a privilege to still be able to go out there and practice today. A lot of teams across the state wish they could go practice. So we're happy to be out there, and we want to keep this thing going as long as possible and make a deep run.
There you go. That's what we all hoping for as well. With that being said, I know it wasn't just straight smooth to the district championship. I'm sure there were some ups, some downs, some hurdles. So can you just talk about some of those biggest challenges that you all faced during the season and how you all overcame them?
A lot of adversity throughout the season, a lot of injuries, a lot of kids out sick. We were missing some of our key players for out-of-town trips for school-related activities. A lot of guys stepped up on this team. In my 5 years at West Bloomfield, I don't know if we've ever had a team that had so many different contributors throughout the season that helped win us a lot of baseball games. So that was cool to see. And you saw the same thing happen on Saturday at the districts. We saw a lot of adversity, got down 3-0 right away in the first game. And, our attitudes were phenomenal. I didn't see anyone hanging their head. I didn't see anyone pointing any fingers. We kind of just had a quiet confidence about us that we were going to find a way to get it done. And, the baseball guys rewarded us in the end, and it worked out for us. And I'm super proud of the guys for the way that we responded. And it's kind of been the way it's been all year, dealing with different challenges and adversity. And you saw it pop up again Saturday, and you have to be ready to deal with that. And we did a great job.
Let's go, Coach. Let's go, Coach. Oh, I'm so high. Listen, it's reminding me of my days in high school. I played baseball in high school for a little bit, man. I see the videos. I see the pictures. I just want to get out there with the boys and play myself sometime. But you mentioned some of the players that stepped up, right? Let's name some of them. Give them some of them flowers. Which players stepped up during the postseason? Talk about how their performance impacted the outcome.
Absolutely. A lot of our guys that played really well on Saturday have really been our best players all year.
Let's go.
Cam LaFlame has been our best player all year long. Offensively, defensively, pitching-wise, there hasn't been a more valuable player to our team. And I think it was kind of fitting that he was able to get the start on the mound in the championship game. And he's pitched great all year, so this is saying a lot, but it really was the best I've ever seen him throw, given the stakes of the game, all the pressure. I mean, he was really dominant, and I'm super proud of him. And he also had the game-tying RBI in the first game that helped us get to the championship game. So he had a phenomenal day. Stevie Fountain had a great day, had a few hits, got on base a couple more times, stole some bases, scored some runs, closed out the championship game. Slade Moore was good as always, didn't give up any earned runs, had a big RBI hit in game one. Logan Scheidt, who's been our rock all year behind the plate, again catches both games, ends up having 2 RBIs in the second game, which were our only 2 runs. He's just been a phenomenal player as a sophomore. And other guys, I mean, we've had a lot of contributors all year long. Those are just a few guys. Brody Pecor pitched 2 great innings in the semifinal game on Saturday. Just a lot of contributors. And like I said, our bench was phenomenal. Even a kid like Nathan Herbert, who pinch ran in the first game, ended up scoring our winning run. I don't know how many kids on our roster would have been able to score from second base on that hit. He was flying around third to score that winning run. So it just kind of shows like how deep our team is and how many contributors we have. So I could talk about them all day. I know I don't have all the time in the world, but just super proud of all those guys.
No, let's go. Hey, let's go, Coach. I love that, man. And you know what? I want to speak a little bit to what you just spoke on just recently. But with me right here live on The Splash, West Bloomfield High School baseball team coach Josh Bernberg, talking about the Lakers winning their first district championship in about a decade. So something to celebrate, something to talk about. Now, you talked about some of the individual players. You talked about even them working together. Here's something I want to point out, right? Teamwork, chemistry, how important it is. You can have a team with a bunch of great players, but if that chemistry isn't there, that synergy isn't there, it may not work necessarily. We're watching the Tigers, the number 1 team in Major League right now, just mash together and have great chemistry. Just talk about the chemistry and how important it is for your team right now to get to where you are.
It's everything. And I think that we took great steps forward with that on Saturday. And now that we got over this hump of being able to win the district and these kids were finally able to experience that together, I think there's even more confidence now across the team. And I'm hoping, that helps us in our game on Wednesday and hopefully even further along in the tournament. So I'm just happy for them that they got to experience this together. As you know, we've had some really good teams over the past few years, and a lot of these guys have been on varsity for a while. And we have just ran into some really good teams in the playoffs in the district. And it's just the way it is. It's the way the draw happened. But we all were kind of looking forward to this year, and we all had a confidence about us that this was going to be the year we got it done. It wasn't easy by any means, man. It was a struggle out there, and we had to earn every inch of that championship on Saturday, but I don't think we would have wanted it any other way. And I'm just glad that these kids were able to experience it together, and I was able to be their coach for it.
Yeah, man. And like I said before, I mean, I imagine that you all are simultaneously watching our hometown team, the Detroit Tigers, just propelling and excelling right now. I love to see it, man. Have you all made it to a game this season? Do you all any plans?
Yeah, I've been to a couple games, and I sure will be at a few more. The way that they're playing, yeah, it's fun to go to baseball games regardless. But man, it sure makes it a whole lot more fun when you have a team like the Tigers right now. Yeah, and they're not just winning. I mean, we're talking about a team with the best record in the league. So it's like, you know, it's far enough along into the further along in the year now where it's not a mistake anymore. You know, this is just a really good baseball team. They're just moving off their success from the end of last season, and it's super exciting to watch and a great example, kind of like you had mentioned, like any high school team in the area or college teams. Like, if you want to look at the Tigers, that's a team that plays hard for each other. They don't care about their personal success. They just want the guy next to them to do well, and all they care about is winning. So phenomenal example for all of our young kids out here that are watching it on TV, that's how they should act. And being a great teammate is the most important thing.
Correct. I imagine it serves as great motivation and influence as well. So I don't want to hold you up too much longer. A couple more things I want to get to you. We couldn't go this far without explaining, or at least talking about, the support from the school and the community. Can you just talk about how they influence the team's motivation and morale so far?
Oh, it's been phenomenal, and we had a great crowd out there Saturday, and our parents of the players in the team have been absolutely phenomenal in my time there, and I'm happy for them as well. You know, they got to experience that. They were so excited afterwards. We got them all on the field to take a bunch of pictures, and I wanted to make sure they could soak in every moment of it. I mean, this is special now. You know, I mean, this is a lot of them. We have 13 seniors on the team, so a lot of those parents are watching their kids play high school baseball for the last time. This is the community that their kids have grown up in. They've been going to school with these kids forever. It's special. You know, there's nothing really like high school sports, and if you're fortunate enough to be on a team that can make a run in the playoffs, it's even more special. So we're excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for our kids. I'm excited for our families. I'm excited for the school, our athletic department. It's just an exciting time. And like I said, I want to soak in every moment of it and hope that we can keep this going for as long as possible.
That's right. That's right. That's what we want to. We're going to ride that wave, Coach. Hey, lastly, any advice to give to any aspiring student athletes looking to possibly join a team in the next season, or just watching right now and possibly just intrigued?
Yeah, I would encourage as many kids as possible to try as many sports as possible. Play as many sports for as long as you possibly can, because before you know it, it's over. So if you're looking to get into something, man, reach out to the right people. There's so many different people that are giving lessons out there that can help kids in every sport nowadays. So anyone that's even thinking about trying some, I would encourage kids to go out there and do it. And at least you gave it a shot no matter what. You don't want to have any regrets as you get older in life. So get out there and go do it.
Put it all out there, man. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you again for your time, and congratulations again, West Bloomfield High School baseball coach Josh Bernberg. We appreciate you, sir.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate you as always.
Always, and we'll be here to continuously support our local baseball teams. We'll keep you updated on their path in the postseason as well. Recently, a local retirement community brought the magic of prom night to some of the senior residents in our Keego Harbor community, with the help of some of the youth in the community as well. Our very own Jake Schaff visited to share the story.
It's the time of year for everyone to start prepping for their senior prom, but it's not just high schoolers that are having a night to remember. As Magnolia by the Lakes in Keego Harbor recently held their first ever senior prom for the residents of the community, and high school students from Orchard Lake St. Mary's came out to escort the seniors for a night they will never forget.
Well, this is our first and only prom, first prom that's Magnolia by the Lakes has ever had. A lot of these people have not ever been to prom. It was my idea to have it, so it was on their bucket list. So instead of celebrating Mother's Day, we celebrated senior prom.
I had never been escorted by anyone, anywhere, in the past, except at my wedding. But it was very nice, thoughtful.
I think it is fantastic. I haven't been to a senior prom for 65 years, and this is not quite all over again, but it's a lot of fun.
What do you see from the high schoolers that have come out here tonight to just accompany you and accompany all the other seniors?
I thought that was a fantastic idea. You know, give the seniors, the old people, us old people, a taste of the young, and then the young people that I've met are just so friendly and courteous and inquisitive. So it's a good moment.
It's just so much fun to be able to help out and escort the seniors to their dance and see how much fun they have and see them dress up. so much. It brings joy to me to see that on the other people's faces and like give them their corsage or their boutonniere.
I hope they're able to appreciate like the fun that everyone has, that like both old and younger kids can have a good time together and like bond.
What is it about tonight, like the dancing or the food or just the conversations? What are you looking forward to the most?
I think conversation, like building like a connection with the older community and like making those bonds.
Well, it's a good interchange. They learn, we learn. And we've had interface with St. Mary's in the past for various things, activities here on site. They're like grandchildren for most people.
My goal here at Magnolia is to make these seniors live the best life they can, and to me, it's giving back to the community, and I absolutely love doing that for them. And this is, to them, this is epic. Like I said, we've never had a prom here before. So it's going to be good conversation, good memories, good food, and just a lot of friendships and memories to be made tonight.
What do you hope everybody takes away from a night like this?
That they had a good time, and they really appreciate what the staff here does at Magnolia, because it is fantastic.
Everyone is happy tonight, and it's all thanks to the incredible work of everyone at Magnolia by the Lakes. And for the first ever senior prom, it's safe to say that this event is going to be sticking around and creating bigger and better things for the future. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Thank you for that story, Jake. A beautiful, human-touching story right here in Kego Harbor, how we appreciate our seniors. And thank you for the local youth for going and visit them as well. Thank you so much for spending time with us right here at Civic Center TV. I've been your host, Kevin McIntosh, per usual. We are live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.